Well, hello, my name is Christopher Scott, and I serve as a small groups pastor of a local church. And I make these videos to help people that maybe facilitate a small group, they lead a Bible study, they organize a support group, they teach a Sunday school class. These are some videos I create to help people that do those activities to facilitate good small group discussions. And in this video, I want to talk to you about encouraging your group to work through the lesson before coming to the small group. That you want to encourage them to take some time to read the passage, work through the study guide, answer some questions, pray about the topic before they come to the group. And if you're new to that, you're gonna first of all, you as a facilitator need to prepare for the group lesson. I got a video that I'll put up there about how you as a facilitator prepare to facilitate the lesson. That's on your end as a facilitator. But this video is talking about how the group prepares to come to the group and talk about it. So first, why do you want to encourage your group to work through the lesson before coming to your group? First reason you want to encourage your group to work through the lesson before coming to the group is this thing called schema, okay? Schema, S-C-H-E-M-A. And if you're a teacher or involved in any type of a teaching industry, you know about schema. And it's this science that is research-based that shows that students and people learn more when they activate their prior learning before learning. Meaning, when you're trying to teach someone something, you want to get them to think about, talk about, write down everything they know about that topic before you teach them something new, because it will build on what they already know, okay? So for example, when I facilitate and teach a new believers group where we talked about hell recently, okay? And I had them read some passages on hell, I had them answer some questions on hell, and at the beginning of our group, I told them and had them teach me everything you know about the topic of hell in the Bible, right? And we spent about 5 or 10 minutes talking about that. Then I built on that and took them steps further and steps deeper on the topic of hell. So schema is something you want to do where you want to try to get the people involved and activate what they already know about that topic, okay? A second reason you want to encourage your group to work through the lesson before coming to your group is that it encourages obedience in their life, following someone that has some authority and leadership over them, right? So you want to encourage them to work through the lesson before coming to the group, and it teaches them a simple way to start to do and follow what someone in authority over them is teaching them to do, right? Warren Wiersbe, in his book on being a servant of God, says, obedience to the will of God gives you wings, not chains, right? And it also goes along with 1 Peter 5, verses 1 through 5, that talks about leaders in the church and elders and how people below them need to respect those in authority over them and follow their direction, okay? And it reminds me of a small group that we had started at our church related to a specific topic that men were struggling with. And there was a few guys that joined this group related to this topic. And there was a good study guide that we had given them to work through each week that kind of took them through a little reading, answering a couple basic questions, and then they'd come to the group ready to talk about the topic they were struggling with. And the facilitator was a great guy. He was very coachable, and I said, you really need to work with these guys, encourage them to do a little work before coming to the group, because they've joined this group wanting to solve the problem they have in their life, okay? So he did it the first week, said, read these 3 pages, answer these 2 questions, let's talk about it next week. The guys show up, none of them had to do it. He says, okay, these are the next 5 pages to read, 2 questions to answer, let's talk about them next week. The guys show up, they didn't do it. So this continued for about 7 weeks, right? Where it just didn't seem like the guys were putting in any effort or anything. And eventually the facilitator contacts me and just says, these guys, they're not doing the work, they don't seem like they want to follow the direction I'm giving them. I don't think they even want to solve the problems they're struggling with. He said, I'm tired of this, I'm just going to give up. I said, you know what? That makes sense. If they're not going to spend 15 minutes throughout the course of an entire week to just read a couple pages, answer a couple questions, if they're not going to accept your direction to do that, they're definitely not going to fix the problems that they have in their lives that they have joined this group hoping to solve, right? So you want to encourage them to work through the group for 2 reasons. Number 1 is schema, to activate that prior knowledge and learning. Number 2 is to practice and develop obedience in their lives, okay? But what does working through a lesson before coming to the group look like? It's going to look very different based on the group that you facilitate, how your group goes about the lessons, and what curriculum your group uses. So let's say, for example, your group is just going verse by verse through books of the Bible. There's no study guide or curriculum. You just take them through books of the Bible, opening the Bible and walking them through the passages, right? So if that's what your group does, you're going to want to give them the specific passage related to the next week. Ask them to read it several times. Ask them to highlight key verses, highlight key themes, and then maybe encourage them to write their own questions or thoughts about the passage and bring them to the group ready to share. Or maybe your group is using the Wearsby Bible Study Guides that some of our groups at our church use. I got some videos up there about how to use these. You're going to give them the lesson that you're in, the passage they need to read, and the questions they need to answer in that lesson so that they can write those down, come to the group ready to talk about the Bible study guide. Or some of our groups at our church use the Chip Ingram DVD-based topical studies that are produced by Living on the Edge. You can find some of those videos up there about how to use these. And these are a little different. There's a specific teaching each week that they go through in the group. There's some questions they go through in the group. And then there is an Accelerate section, right? It's a 20-minute devotional they do on their own called Accelerate, but then it gives them some practical application they do that week based on what they learned in the small group. So there really isn't pre-work to do before coming to the group, but there is actually application they do after the group. So that's the Accelerate sections is what you're going to do in that group. Or maybe you're facilitating, a divorce care group or grief share or something like that. And usually in there's a 5 or 10 minute daily devotional they want you to do and read and journal about. Or maybe you're facilitating a finance group, right? So you're talking about finances and how people can budget their money. It might be as simple as this week, I want you to get a pad of paper and write down everything you spend money on. Or next week, I want you to go and open a savings account, things like that. Basic things they can do as a follow-up to what you've learned, but also that you can reference and build on in the future, okay? So each group's going to look a little different in how they work through the lesson before coming to the group. But the principle is you want them to spend some time doing things between each group meeting to either apply what they're learning or being ready to talk about what they're going to learn in the small group together, okay? And as you do this with your group, encourage them just to do it. Don't worry about, if they're filling out a study guide questions, don't worry about proper grammar, sentence punctuation, great theology or anything like that. Just get them in there writing their thoughts. Get them to spend some time praying about it, working through it, and letting the Holy Spirit work in their hearts as they work through the material that your group is going through. So I hope this is a helpful video for you about how you can encourage your small group to work through the lesson before coming to the group. If you do this and encourage them over time, I think you'll find a lot of great benefits. The people in your group are going to learn more and grow more because they're coming to the group ready to talk about it. You're going to have better discussions also because the people come there focused on the topic and ready to stay on the topic instead of just kind of showing up and wandering wherever they want. No, they've done a little pre-work. They're ready to talk about the topic that they have spent some time working in. So I encourage you to do this. Encourage your group to work through the lesson before coming to the meeting. Be friendly, be kind, be gentle, be loving in the way you do it, but do encourage them to do it. And I think you'll find it has great benefits for you as a facilitator and the people in your small group. Thanks for watching. My name's Christopher Scott. If you found this video helpful, you can subscribe up there and get other updates on my videos. If you found this video helpful, you can get other small group facilitator tips. I got a list of 25 small group facilitator tips in a playlist up there. If you want to learn to use these Wearsby Bible studies, I got some videos over there. Or if you want some brief 5-minute introductions to books of the Bible, I got that playlist over there. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you again soon in another video.